This is a moment of silence to be brought to you by Councilwoman Guerrero.
I pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Roll call, please.
Mayor,
Here.
Jang, here, Kim is absent from the meeting today, Mayor. Min,
Here.
Clark,
Yes.
Farrell, here, Petrie.
Yeah.
Okay, Borough Attorney Matt Mensch is joining us via Zoom,
How are you, man?
soon to be in public. And the Borough Administrator is with us today. Okay. On the consent agenda, we have 2023-213 claims. The bill list is included in your work session packet. The CFO is here to answer any questions.
Yes, we got them today, and it was good that they brought us today. If you guys want to review this right now, we would. But if there's any questions that you want to ask after today, you're more than willing to ask, and the finance department will provide the information for you.
Okay, so for clarity purposes, if anyone wants to see the bills will be available in the finance office. Does everybody hear that, and understand that?
Sure, yes.
So you can go in anytime from 8 or 9 to 4, they'll be available in the finance office, correct?
Yes, and if there's any issues, call myself. I'll make sure I get here in 30 minutes and it's closed because, there's a problem.
Is there a problem with toner?
It's very
I
light.
can't read a freaking thing.
It's
You
like,
have no toner?
Yeah, I don't know if this shows.
how about we request the finance department to maybe bold all this stuff? Would that be okay?
Yeah.
Government
Order some
bold it?
Get in the system.
Yeah, I agree.
Topics are very hard.
Topics are dark, the heading headers are dark.
It's gotta be the toner, it's picking up something.
So let's move forward, if that's okay with the governing body, members, is it okay? You guys have enough time to read this within a week? Faster the better, to request information from the CFO and the finance department. Why, after the consent, do I go to the public, or do I go after it was all done?
Discussion first.
Discussion, okay. So we have discussion here, authorization of best practices inventory. Roy, would you give us a roundabout?
Can I do it here, Mayor? Do I have to be on tape?
Yeah, be over there, sir. Yeah, you get on stage.
Good evening, everyone. So for about 15 years or so, the governor has requested that all towns perform what's called the best practice checklist. What it is, it's a checklist of fiscal, procurement, almost every avenue that has to do with municipal government. There are different questions that as CFO I would answer. And what we've done here and most towns is if there is a no answer, I explain why it's a no answer. This year, approximately half this questionnaire, which everyone got probably in the last week or so, I sent it out. Many of them are what's called core compensation, and that's basically where we get graded from 0 to roughly 40 questions. We need to have at least 29 yes answers on the core so that we get our full complement. I'm presenting tonight that we have 36 yeses with, so that we will be making our energy receipt tax wire December 1st. So we're in very good shape that way. However, the law requires me and the borough clerk to certify that I came before you and went over the best practices, not every question, but ones that have a no answer, or of course, if the council has something they want to ask upon me. So with that, the very first no question, the majority were all yeses, just so you know. Number 6 was a no. And what that question basically says is, do we have a compensated trust fund set up for those that retire, for those that, we have money that we reserve for payment. We simply don't have that in place. And the reason we don't have it in place is because we basically just made cap last year without having to lay off any, employees. And it was the mayor and council as a whole that wanted to keep, the government running with the, complement. We also don't have a storm water trust fund. What that is also is you appropriate money in what we would call a storm trust, so that we would have money and not have to touch the budget, because year after year that would roll over, whether it be for snow removal, severe thunderstorms, whatever it is that's storm related that we have to spend money. We simply just don't have those funds available to set up those trust funds.
If we
At
set up
this
these
time.
trust funds, and if we don't use them, what happens?
Nothing, they remain, you cannot touch them.
Stay there.
Number 8, you're gonna see a lot of no or NA questions on the, application. For whatever reason, the state wanted a lot of questions about water utility, sewer utilities, and in Palisades Park, we simply don't have those. We use United Water, which is now, Libya,
Yeah, the BCUA,
the BCUA for sewer. So we really are no's or NA's on that. We don't get penalized for those, answers. Number 12 is yes. I originally had no.
You said no, but you.
I did say no, we're gonna change that to a yes. And what that is our engineer, when he goes out to bid, all those projects are under the, prevailing wage.
We're covered there.
So I was wrong on that, and that is a yes. Number 18 is no, and that has to do with, cybersecurity. We're using the county, they have their own system set up, and I don't see any issues why we need to go into that anymore.
We are currently using the cyber security.
We're using the county cybersecurity,
Right now, currently?
and we're also using Ken Bruce's system as well. So we have plenty of backup securities, as you know.
What kind of cyber security? We talk about malware, viruses?
Everything, ransomware, you name it.
Question.
Yep.
Do our employee get training on that cybersecurity?
Yes, through the JIF. Dave, I don't know when the last time we've had that.
Yeah, it's.
It's been a while, Councilman.
And it's done through, Jim has a seminar that you guys go over if you want, when they do their,
It's on the website, MEL, M-E-L. You, at any time, you can get that.
The full recognized Councilman Kim coming in at 5:07 p.m. Please continue.
Okay, number 19 and number 20 are no's, and that has to do with electric vehicles and electric stations. Again, it's, as you know, it's quite expensive, but it's something down the road that the state will want us to do. And from what I gather on that, we can go through this at another time.
Okay.
The reality is that these stations will pay roughly 11% back to the town. But you still have to initially put out that money, and we don't have it right now.
There's no programs for that one?
There are, but those grants, you still have to put the money up front. It's roughly $15,000 for one charging station, but you only get back 11%. But again, if everyone's using it, it could be paid back quick, Councilwoman.
Yeah.
It's something to think about in the
Next year.
future. It is bondable. It is bondable also.
Bill, yeah, we should,
Sure.
start working on that for next year's, budget? And how about the electric vehicles? What kind of,
We don't have a formal policy for vehicles, and they're looking for electric, because I asked that question at the state. It's not just hybrid, they want full-blown electric vehicles. We just
What's the
don't have.
return, what is our benefit? For example, this was the previous one, stations with 11%.
There is none. That would be our cost. We don't
Just-
get any money
okay,
back.
okay. No benefit.
No. We do not have an ethics board in Palisades Park set up. Number 27, the audit has not been released yet for 2022. Number 29 is no, because we don't have a first aid squad that we give money to. We gotta go all the way to 53. Just bear with me.
How about 33D?
Okay, those were non-corporate, I will answer your question, Mayor. 33B, what
D as in dog.
Dog?
D as in dog.
Okay, is your municipality providing residential pickup or contracts with a private hauler?
No, it's privatized.
Right,
What's,
Because we have a company that comes in and does.
that's what I was saying.
our own hauler.
So what?
We have our own,
We have our own, okay.
okay? Should I continue to 53?
53.
So in 53, when we do the actual budget for the shared services, we do send down the top sheet in the budget that we have for shared services. By the way, it was approved, however, I had to put no because the state wants the entire contract with the clerk's signature and my signature as well. This is new, and obviously we will conform next year to that. We do not file our contracts under PERC, specifically with the PBA, because it's still in negotiations, Dave, I believe.
No, the PBA contract is done. You're looking at 55A?
I'm looking at 59 and 60.
59, 60. Hold on one second.
Yep.
So
Perk.
59.
If we do have those contracts, we can upload them to PERC if you want, and I could change that to a yes.
I don't see I don't see why not. Our contracts are in stream right now anyway.
All right,
I mean, you could upload them and send them down. It
so
doesn't
why don't we
matter.
make that a yes?
Okay, getting better.
Gina, you'll send those, or get them to me?
Yes, the PBA, I believe, expires in 2025.
Yeah.
Yes, right.
Yes.
So we can't put those on now.
Yeah.
Yes, as for the white, blue, and the library, I see, yes, I would have to recheck the dates.
Okay, we'll check the dates and we can send a copy, keep them on file. So that
And we can upload those literally download, so that's pretty easy.
Are we just talking about 59 or 60?
Both.
Both.
Okay. Yes.
So we're gonna change, hold on 1 minute, because we're gonna upload this tomorrow. So I'm gonna make 59 yes, Gina and 60 is gonna become a yes,
Yeah.
Okay.
because the clerk and I certify this on fast and send it down. 64 through 67, again, is NA, we use Olivia for the water, and we use BCUA for restore utility. And at that time, so that's the questionnaire. Everything else was yes, we really do keep a pretty good handle on everything. So with that, we're probably gonna be 38 yeses,
38?
30,
I thought it was 29.
the perk is gonna go
36, we got 39 now.
39.
30,
So if you start at 36, we'll have 39.
Yep, and what I'll do is, once I change these, yeah, I see it, I'll upload again. I will send you the final copy, so everyone will have it for their files as well. So that's the best practice. We'll get on this tomorrow, Gina and myself. And I think we're good on that. All right?
One more question before we go.
Yep.
038, if your municipality does not have.
38, hold on, Mayor, let me get to it. 38 by itself?
Yes, four by itself, 38. Municipality, lead-based paint hazards, using the, not a permanent local agency or shared service. We don't do it, why? Because.
Okay, so that's a question mark, because the building department last year just adopted that. Part of the new building code now is that we have to do a certification for lead paint. I don't know what degree the DCA is requiring that we do it. I know that certification has to be done, so that could become a yes.
So prospectively, I would put perspective on that. And just so you know, Mayor, this is under the UCC Uniform Construction Code, and what happens is, I only have one town now that is a yes. All the towns that I'm aware of, including my colleagues. And you have to go and get certification, not you, but usually it's the building official, code official. And when they get that certification, they then can go to different sites that the state will tell them to go to and do a lead-based paint cursory review. You have to have that license and certification. Once we do that by.
And Roy, not to interrupt you, but I would have to ask our state housing inspector. I believe they are doing it.
I didn't know that, so that's perfect.
So this may be, and I have to confirm that with them.
So if that's true, I have to change that whole answer because I have to put a dollar value in comment that we will then get grant money next year for that. So that is a definitely hold up. So we will not file this tomorrow, it'll take a couple days. Let me just make a couple notes on that. Lead-based
Find
paint.
it out tomorrow.
Council members, any questions?
That's good because I have to, put in the comment field as well. We'll talk on that one.
I have one question.
Yep.
This is not relating to this one, but when are we going to get the final audited, the executed, fund for the last year, 2022? We don't have that
We
yet.
do not have it, we're waiting for the borough attorney to sign off on litigation.
Yeah, the last thing we gotta get, Matt, is for you to sign off on a litigation form. Matthew?
Yes, we're almost down at, the litigation is for stuff from last year.
Correct, yeah, I know.
It's being, be a little longer because it's, I'm familiar with other stuff that's current, but we had to go back and figure out what was,
And that's the last item that's holding up the audit.
Yes.
So once that's released, I then come back to you with the audit comments and corrective action.
Thank you, because, in order for us to start, budget for the next year, I think that should be the first thing that we have to check through, so, thank you.
Anybody else concerning August presentation? No? Thank you
No,
very much.
Just
Yes,
one
go ahead.
question, if you can answer. Like you said, if I have to inquire tomorrow, 9 to 4, I will, but, what?
You're going back
Mr.
to.
For work section, there is, one item, Bergen County utilities amounted $577,378.
That's our utility bill, we pay that quarterly.
That much?
Yes.
Oh,
$1 million.
We actually do pretty good with it, we challenged that many years ago to Frank
Very
Rotundo.
expensive to flush the toilet these days.
Yeah, that's a direct bill from BCUA, Bergen County, we pay it quarterly, Councilman.
Anybody else? Great, let's move forward. The next one is the authorization of chapter 159, insertion of revenue and appropriation, the budget of 23 budget opiate settlement grant. I'm sure all the council members read this. I am okay with it. Any questions? Good. Authorization next is authorization of chapter 159, insertion of revenue appropriation, stop for pedestrian multi-officer decoy program grant. I have no issues with it. Does any other council have questions with this? Okay. Authorization of Borough Clerk to advertise RFQ for professional services, 12 Bellevue Place Bid Award.
No, it's two separate.
Two separate things.
Oh, I'm sorry, yeah, there's two separate things, yeah. Authorization of Borough Clerk to advertise RFQ for professional services. Do you have a resolution? What is it about?
We do this every year. This is to prepare for the reorganization meeting. This is just going out for RFQs for all of our professionals.
So it starts in October,
Yes.
and we have, like to have them ready by the end of December for January adoption at the reorganization meeting. I'll make a comment that if anybody feels that there's anything else that should be added to those lists as far as RFPs. So this year, I know we hired some additional lawyers, we hired some additional professionals. If you wanna make it more specific and add them in now, now's the time to do it, so we can put that out.
When did we have it?
December, we put them out.
Well,
We would like
well,
to
no, we'd like to have them back
advertise,
in December, so we
When
just.
is
Oh, yeah, you do them in after
like,
reorg.
after the regular meeting
Of next
So
week?
it's like,
of next
yeah,
week.
so if you can get them, you
By next
you just have to know what you wanna advertise for, like, if you wanna have another auditor, you wanna have another attorney, you wanna have another.
This is the reorg, mayor's
Yeah, so
appointment,
it's what we have
consent of the
to-
governing body, majority of the governing body.
Yeah, correct.
Understood. And that will be, the deadline to advertise will be end of next Monday.
So, yeah,
Yes.
you just have to know, like, if we hired a special counsel for whatever matters, well, perhaps you can do it at the reorganization meeting and not have to worry about doing a separate resolution during the course of the year.
So you would like to get the advertisement out in November, so people.
Yeah, that's what I thought,
RFQs
yeah,
out
yeah.
by December.
So let's just
and
say
have,
November. November what was the deadline?
Advertising.
The first of.
First week of November?
Yes.
Good.
And have them back by at least the end of November,
Toward December, January.
right,
Okay.
and of course, all of the.
This is, thinking about your lists, one thing you certainly can do when it comes to attorneys, you can do the same thing with other professionals too, but speaking of attorneys specifically, is you could put out like,
Well, yeah, how about we discuss this, time, Matt, I think it'd be nice if you give us some information about that in detail. You're mayor of Bridgewater, maybe you could give us a sample of what you're doing there as well.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm calling in, by the way, I'm gonna jump off real quick and, just to warn the administrator about parking in his parking spot.
Could we get some 6 coffees, 7 coffees?
Where did I park? Oh, okay, whatever,
Park wherever you need to park.
Anytime.
Spot reserved for administrator.
That's fine.
Alright,
Thank you. Any questions about authorizing the borough clerk to advertise opportunities for emergency services? Okay. Well, we're just talking about any more questions from the council members about this? Okay. All right. Next is 12 Bellevue Place Bid Award.
Mayor, if I may, we may have to skip over that. The attorney, there was a question about whether or not we can award to the lowest bidder. I don't wanna say too much, it should probably be discussed in closed session. However, the attorney is, drafting and
What?
reviewing
Okay, so
the award. We don't know who to award yet to.
does Munch know the answer, or he doesn't know the answer? You
We
don't?
will,
He's
we will-
researching it.
He's researching, yes. Our borough engineer forwarded the question to the attorney, and he's reviewing it. We can ask him for the status when he gets back.
This 12 we'll talk about just not about the details about it, but what it is. Bellevue is for the demo, for the building that we have. First, it's structurally unstable, right? Right, that's what I've been told, right, BA?
That's correct.
Right, we have to remove that. And also, this is the place where the police department would like to put their trolley, is that correct?
No,
No?
No, I don't
No.
think that's Depot.
Depot Place, where they wanna put it,
Okay, it's a good thing I asked.
and they went with the borough engineer.
So it's a depot place. Where is the depot place?
Depot Place is right before you go over the train tracks and go to the shop right on your left-hand side.
Shop
On Central.
on Central. So it's about the way in of it.
Yes, if you're going down Central, before you go over the railroad tracks, on the left-hand side, that area over there that runs parallel with the tracks is called Depot Place.
Okay, good.
That's the, how are you crossing the cleaner, right?
That's right.
Yes.
Cleaner?
Yeah,
Right before the.
right across you from, whatever that, the spa.
Yeah, just in the nick of time. We were just about to go 12 Bellevue Place Bid Award, and the borough clerk stopped us because there's some discrepancies, is that correct? Take your time. Yeah, good time.
Yeah, so I know that, we were taking a look at the, I was taking a look at the details of the awards and response that came back. So, on that one, we still need to kind of finish up, that review, and then we'll be able to advise the mayor and council about whether it will be prepared for action at the next meeting, or whether or not we have to take any other action with regard to the award.
Understood. Is this an RFQ or an RFP?
Neither, it was.
Neither? It was a bid.
Bid.
And because we have to verify the procedure.
Correct.
And so we need more time.
Correct, with bids especially like this, you have to follow the
Proper
detailed kind of
procedures.
procurement rules. Unlike a professional, we have professional services, RFP or RFQ, you have a lot more freedom, so to speak. You can be a little bit more lenient if certain things weren't followed exactly, but with bid, you have to follow it directly, otherwise you have to potentially go out for, you to rebid it, or you have to address other issues.
Okay, so we're gonna have to, I guess, you guys hold that off. When do you think you'll get the answer from? Soon enough?
Yeah, we'll
By
have,
next week?
we'll have the answer in order for the, for you guys to be able to act or not act at the next meeting.
Thank you.
But we can't give you a definitive answer what we're sitting here right now.
Thank you. Any questions? Council members? Okay, let's continue. Broad Avenue Streetscape Project Bid Award. This is a doozy right now.
Right, I would like to find out, when I first read this thing, it's what, total of $649,000? $642,087 to beautify for 2 blocks.
Yeah,
From
it's
Central
to
to
Brinkerhoff.
Brinkerhoff.
Yeah.
And, beautification of the town is very important matter, but I was thinking, right now, we need a lot of work in, even DPW. From my knowledge, how we gonna afford this?
So it's a grant, there's a grant available. Me, I personally think the price is too high, but that's just my opinion, there's only one bidder, and I don't really ever feel comfortable recommending when one bidder
But,
applies.
how much is exact bid, the grant?
I'm sorry?
May I ask CFO?
Grant?
Yeah, how much is the exact
For the
grant
streetscape?
amount?
Yeah,
I think in stages.
yeah, so the total,
The total was 1.6, right?
I thought it was between 1.2 and 1.6, depending on how they go
That's
about.
the
The
total.
total amount for this grant that we will receive is between 1.2 and 1.6 million dollars.
1.2 to 1.6
With $6
million
million.
dollars?
It's done in phases, and the first phase is this. piece of
Central
land.
to Rickroll.
The, cost estimate was to be around.
400 and change.
Yeah, $400-something thousand. So it came in significantly higher over the cost estimate amount. And lately, that's what's been happening because of prices of materials and everything else, so within 10% or so would have been a fair number, a reasonable number, somewhere around 500, so we're still higher. The concern I got, and it's up to you guys to make the decision, is that only one bidder bid.
But,
So-
if we don't decide now, we're gonna lose this 1.2 to 1.6 million dollars?
So we have a potential to lose the grant, but we could try to contact the state and see if they'll give us an extension of time, because there was only one bidder, and that the numbers were higher.
Right, because if I understand, from around $400,000 to like $642,000, even though we're gonna get the money back later, it will be our money to put in first, right?
Correct,
For all
so,
of these
so what
things,
we would do is we would pay for.
Right.
The thing is, if three bidders bid, and the number was 600,000 or thereabouts, then that's the right number.
I think
I'm not
so.
saying that that's not the right number, I'm just saying, I just don't
Yeah,
feel
I
comfortable
would feel
advising.
much better that way, so if you can ask for the
So we
extension,
should get
and then,
extension and try to rebid
yeah,
it.
we'll look for the
Another
bidders at
question.
one time.
If the project is done in phases,
It is,
do they limit the amount for
Yes,
each phase?
that's why-
So the truth of the matter is, what is the actual portion that is allotted for this first bid?
so that's.
Is it 300,000, is it 300,000 over? I mean, that's key.
So
It's
this-
not just about the total amount,
So we have
if
to
they're
work with
going
the
to break
engineer.
it down that way.
Right, we have to work with the engineer.
I believe it's like 100 and change. That was the first stage.
No, it's 300.
300.
Yeah, so and if it's justifiable, then perhaps maybe the state will authorize additional funding. If it's not, they're gonna say, that's what you're getting. And now when you're on phase two, and there's no more money left, because you're at your max, they may say the rest of it wrong.
Is that the only two options, just to request an extension? And what are the odds? I mean, you have experience here, Mayor.
Yeah, when it comes to dealing with the state on grants, I hate to say it, but it can be hit or miss. Sometimes they're really easy to work with, and they'll say, hey, there's no problem, we'll extend it out. Other times, they'll hold the feet to the fire.
I'm just, I'm very kind of disappointed why this is happening at the last moment again, while we're chasing time, when we should be having ample time, especially during the regular session of next week, to decide this now. The deadline is on the 20th.
Or we don't create the deadlines, Paul State does.
Yeah, but why was it submitted and responded with so late?
Well, we did, no, we responded everything in time.
No, I remember doing this with you and us around March.
Yeah,
Nobody bid.
nobody did. This is it,
One bid is nothing.
yeah.
When did you do the bid? Who did the bid? Isn't the engineer that did the bid?
He prepared the plans to spectrum, and that all had to be done and coordinated and sent out.
It's a beautiful project where it's supposed to look like an updated Broad Avenue, and right now, because somehow we,
So much
you know,
money.
it just took a long time.
Well, yeah, you could, if you could accept the bid, you want, not accept the bid,
What is the reason why we only have one bidder?
I don't know. It's public bidding.
How does that public bid go? Who knows about it? You advertise in the paper.
Yeah, a lot of the companies will, that do this kind of work, they have a service, so oftentimes, like, my office gets a service, anytime there's a legal RFP out there, I get notices
Yeah,
every
you
morning.
get that, there's like a
So a
list
lot
on
of
the
those,
website.
yeah, a lot of those companies have the same thing.
Generally, there's a bunch of bidders, this was really,
We
And
had
this is-
people pick up the bid,
Right.
about six.
6 people
but-
picked up, only one returned.
Yeah.
So there's no system where these vendors who's willing to bid, right, go into that system?
We follow state law.
Yeah, so there's different ways of doing it, but, usually there's private companies that will, like, as a service, so they'll troll every newspaper, they'll pull them out, and then they got vendors who might wanna bid on different projects, you can literally check off, like, you know, so again, I'll get like legal RFPs every morning, will tell me towns throughout the state that are putting out bids for legal services, contractors will do the same thing. Every town has a slightly different system in terms of how they do it, but the general requirement is that you publish it in a newspaper. Most of these companies who do this as a regular basis have some way of getting notified of them. In this instance, you know, I think there was 5 or 6 people that did pick it up, so notification's not an issue. The question really is there something about the bid specs or scope or something that
That's
is
what I-
causing people to not wanna
Well,
bid
can
on
I ask a
it?
question? It's central to Brinkhoff,
Central Grant.
and everybody knows about the disastrous building,
So
so nobody
what-
wants to bid on it.
Nobody probably wants to.
What does that spit out?
Well, because I would think if you're gonna beautify something, and then there's gonna be major construction or anything that tends to put them off a
Coordination.
bit. Yeah,
What-
that's what may have held them back a little
What building are
bit.
you referring to?
The one we're
Councilwoman
sitting
Brown?
in, central to Brinkhoff. So when they come and they do an assessment, I think they look for things that are might be major things that could affect the project that they're doing. So that could be why the cost is so high too. That's hard to say, but it is odd that only one
See.
person bid.
So,
Very
so,
strange.
so what are the chances if the state allowed us to have extension on that grant?
You
Like I
rebid
said,
it.
it's a crapshoot.
Same thing,
It's a
you rebid
crapshoot.
it, it's another 30 days, and you may only get one bidder. We've been through this, you know, I've been through it many times, sometimes you get 15 bidders, sometimes you get any. We've had bids that gone out not too long ago, we get any bids.
Now, I just need a consensus, before we do anything, I need the council's, votes to do next. Do you guys wanna go for this really outrageous cost and go with it? There's other options that, I'm not saying let's do it, but, these.
We need a price to compare.
Yeah, the borough engineer, well, CFO, please go ahead.
So this was a bond ordinance 2023-6. It was for $300,000. The grant is $193,000. It is exactly what Councilwoman said. It's phase 1. There's multiple phases with this. So you all accepted phase 1 for $300,000, where we get $193 back.
So it puts us on-
But more importantly, the reason why it's only coming to you now is we only got this award in March. And we only went out and did the bond ordinance through May 22nd. So you have to add 20 days from May 22nd before you can even go and even consider bidding out this work.
Well, then you gotta prepare plans and specs.
Exactly, that's why, so this is on time.
Okay. There's
Mayor,
another-
do you understand?
I understand. I
So the
understand.
bottom line for you is, it will cost us, no matter what, even if we got somebody to come in for the 300,000, it's gonna cost us 100,000 to beautify
Yes,
Yeah, at
Yes.
300.
and you have to
400.
spend that full amount.
100,000.
You have to
Out
spend
of
that full
pocket.
amount.
Right,
Tax
300 goes
it.
to 100, and 400 goes to 200.
And with the bond ordinance, that money has been allocated.
It's there.
currently. It's there.
It's there.
It's not coming out of the budget, it's already in the bond
It can't be
ordinance.
touched.
We only issued debt on 150,000, or the difference from the 193. $100,000 debt.
There was this, our borough engineer stated that there might be other options. Maybe you wanna group those projects with grants together, like we're doing 6, 7, and 8 right now.
So what you could do is you could do the phases together. You could take the first phase and the second phase, and then theoretically go from whatever the phases are, from Central Boulevard to Homestead, I don't know, to Henry, and put that out, because maybe the contractors will see and say, okay, I got some real sizable work here now, and I'll be in Palisade Park for 2 months doing this, and if I can't work here today, I can work there. That may give us a better cost estimate, I don't know.
That also is more money that we have to lay
Or
out.
we gotta lay out more money,
Yeah.
and we're into a closer period of time, rather than let it expire in 3 months, we can maybe now pulling that all forward.
Okay. One other possible option that he mentioned was a possible to remove certain items from the project or the limits to the project to reduce scope and reason to, and we have to give the explanation to the DOT
That's correct.
upon completion and, the inspection and reimbursement.
Scale down the scope of the
Scale down, what do
project.
you think about that, BA?
Personally, I don't think that's a good option.
Okay, good. I just wanted to explore all the options before the governing body, the member of the councils decide. What would you guys like to do? Min, would you like to start first? Pretty much right now, we gotta either, we have to appeal to the generosity to the state. We might not happen. So what happens if we don't get it?
Yeah.
What if he
We
says
don't
no?
get it, we cancel the bond.
Right.
It's canceled.
And then, can we restart this again, or?
I think so.
No, so the
You
bond
have to
goes
start
away,
all over.
the grant goes,
Not this grant, but
grant
you
goes-
know,
The second
the
grant,
state
you-
always has a
No.
grant, so
No.
even if we let this go now, in the future, we can reapply, no?
well, it may not be available.
It might be, what he said, you guys are talking about two different things. He's talking about that you gotta start with the grant number 1 to go to 2, 3, and 4. You're saying that, okay, we don't have to do this now, I'm sure this grant's later in the future. He said that that's not a guarantee. So you guys are talking about two different things, but, okay, good, we cleared that out. Councilman, what would you like to do?
I really need some time to think about it.
Think about it, okay?
Yeah. I'll bring
Councilwoman,
maybe I'll, you know.
yeah,
bring
okay,
something up on the
Councilwoman Jang,
agenda.
what would you like to do?
I really think that, even if we're gonna spend $300,000 finding the best bidder
Mhm.
and do the work, the grant itself is only $193,000. That means we have to pay 107,000.
Minimum,
Right.
it's probably.
That's a minimum, so
Yeah.
more than that from
Yeah.
our own pocket.
Mhm.
And right now, this year, I am sure you know, even school boards,
Mhm.
when they let go one grant,
Mhm.
they'll always look for another options. And sometimes they even find the better ones in the future. So I believe that right now to us, it is not the first priority, of course, that, you know, we can beautify the town and everything. But as she said, the councilwoman, Pereira said, right now, there are things going on in between Central to Brinkerhoff. So, this year, I don't think it's a good idea for us to go.
So
after
right now, I
this.
just wanna make things clear on record, you don't want the governing body to request DOT for getting an extension. You just wanna cancel this.
I wanna, yeah.
Okay,
let it
thank
go
you.
This time.
Councilwoman Pereira.
Yes, I feel the same way. There's just so many expenses looking at all of us right now, important, serious things that are happening in Palisade Park. So if this is what we're looking at in cost, even if it isn't, and it is 300, and we have to spend $100,000 on beautification from Central, I can't justify it in my head, so no, I think we should let it go.
Okay. Councilman.
Yeah. Again, when we need to do it, we need to do it. But the problem is that this is the right time, that's the one that we have to make a judgment on it. The little that we have, I'm just foreseeing that our tax might have to go up a little higher than usual. So adding this kind of extra money is not gonna help us out. So I think we should postpone it a little bit to wait for the right time. Thank you.
So this is a no, you don't want you don't want us to, the administrative staff to request, including with the borough attorney, to ask an extension. You just wanna, you wanna to scratch it, correct?
Yeah, my
You agree
point
with-
is that it's not a right time.
So it's a
The
no.
purpose is good,
So forget about the grant, forget about the bond, bring the money back, and let's think about it next year.
But maybe as the
You
councilman
agree
Brown
with-
said, that there are probably, hopefully, there might be another chance to have a grant like this again. So this is, I don't think right now, at this moment, is not the right time.
So it would be a no, instead of, again, you don't want us to do an extension request, you just wanna cancel it, correct?
What, I'm saying no, that for this proposal, only because this is not the right timing, I think.
Okay, I need an answer, that's all I need. They both agree, I think you're agreeing with, Pereira and Jang, is that correct?
Yeah.
Okay, good. 3 council, members don't wanna do this, scratch everything. Councilman Vitry.
I think at this time, where we only had one bid on this whole thing, I think that's, to me, I'd rather have more bids on it. Plus the fact, this council can't decide what to do here with the building, and we're gonna go and beautify the town at this point. I think we have bigger problems in beautifying the town right now. I would say hold off.
I just wanted to ask you this question, but you put something off in there, but, what was your answer to, would you like to ask for an extension in behalf of the governing body, or would you like to say
Voting
for
no.
everybody? No, thank you. Councilman Clark.
Since we don't know the contents of the beautification, so I'm not sure the tender amount. How much was it? 300?
Well, originally, there was one bidding, it was like $640,000 or $30,000. We're only getting a little less than $200,000. So, no?
I don't agree that we performed it this year.
Okay, so everybody is actually unanimous, so I resent that we don't make any good decisions. I think we made a solid decision here. The governing wishes to say, you know what, let's just scratch everything, bring the bond money back, and I guess cancel this streetscape project. It's a very good project where it was supposed to look like like benchmarking any modernized town like Fort Lee, Leonia, where we have benches and lights. And it seems like the governing body does not want to do that. I'm okay with that as well.
Question, Roy. So the grant money that was been awarded back in March, right? That money is already in place in our fund account, right?
No.
No?
No. You have to spend it first, Councilman, except for road programs.
In other words, we got refund.
How do we bring that back anyways, Roy?
I'm sorry?
How do we bring that back?
Bring one back. You have to do another, you would have to start all over. First, you have to get the award from DOT,
Oh, you would have to go through the whole.
which means you have to.
No, I'm talking about the money that we have already reserved to match the DOT.
No, it will just be cancel the bond. We didn't spend it.
At some point in time, Mayor, it's basically a paperwork issue, because you approved the bond, but you haven't actually gone out. and
We haven't
signed
taken
it.
any money
So-
yet.
So what will happen is that at a future meeting, you'll have the next meeting, you'll have a resolution, canceling rejecting the bid, so take care of that. And then at some point, either at the next meeting, I don't know if it'll be on for next week, but at some point, maybe the meeting after that, you'll have a resolution that would allow you to cancel the bond ordinance essentially. That says, hey, we're not
I got
gonna
a
do that.
question. So if we're gonna, so the resolution to cancel the bond is required,
Yes.
right?
Yeah, at some point, you don't have to do it immediately, but yes.
Oh,
But you
Okay.
can't, when you go out for a bond, you go out for a specific purpose and bid, so depending, as an example, if it was a general bond to do road work, and you decided to go from doing road one, instead decided to do road two, you probably could shift around that within the bigger contours of the bond ordinance. But you can't go out and approve a bond, let's say for roads, and then decide, what we really wanna do is build a new park. You can't, your bond purpose is specific, you have to go out for a new bond. So you can't just shift the money to any use that you want, that even though you've already approved borrowing it.
so my question, this is off topic, right? It's just bond specifically, right? So the bond that we actually canceled, last month, that's specific to, the body cam, right? Don't we need a resolution to cancel that?
That bond was never formally.
No, that was
amended.
never-
No, it was never forward. That
It was
was my
never
argument to you all.
Yeah, that bond was never.
It was never brought to a vote.
Right. So you don't have to cancel something that you didn't do.
So the first, we did actually voted on the first reading, introduction, and then it brought it up to the, where,
You passed it.
second reading, but it didn't get,
Correct.
it didn't.
Correct, you didn't approve.
Yeah,
you
it
didn't
didn't
approve
get
the bond.
approved.
Right, so that's different than this scenario where you already approved the bond, which would permit your CFO and your finance team to go out and borrow the money when you're ready, but you haven't done that yet. Sometimes there's issues where you have money left over in a bond. You borrowed $300,000, you only spent $275, then you have extra money. That's a whole different scenario about how you handle the, leftover money, for lack of a better term, on instances where you borrow money that you didn't need to use all of it.
What happened to that then, when we have a leftover from the bond?
Yeah, it goes back, your CFO can probably go through more detail, with it, but it's the same kind of thing where you can use it for certain purposes, but you can't use it for anything in the world. So it goes back to, there's some rules that would say, hey, you got a little extra from an old, you did a road 3 years ago, sometimes you wind up with a little bit in account, and you can roll that money over into other capital projects within in some of the rules. You can't just take it and use it for
something
you know,
else.
What if-
for operating budget, but if it's leftover money, you can sometimes do something else with it.
When you say you cannot, if that happens, what happens? Then, the state government will come after us, or?
No, well, your finance people would never probably let you,
It would get picked up in the
Yeah.
audit report, the
Yeah,
auditor
you
would make a
would be able
detailed
to-
note on it, and then it would be a footnote in the audit comments, and if you do it again, you yell at it real bad.
yeah.
Can we get that money back though?
All right.
Well,
You
you
can't
can-
be stuck in a position.
No, like, so what happens is, so let's just say hypothetically, you go out and you do, you know, again, $300,000 of road work, you approve a bond for it. You say, we're gonna go repave a road, it's gonna cost us $300,000. You borrow the money, so if someone gives you the money, you have it sitting in an account. And then it turns out that by the time you get done paying all your contractors, your engineers, et cetera, you've only used $275,000. Okay, one thing you can do is take that extra $25,000 and use it towards, you know, returning, pay it back to the bank.
Let me give them a hypothetical situation, so if there
Like
was.
right now,
If there was a.
like what's happening now. Like the majority said we were.
Yeah.
Well, no, we can't use, we
We
can't
don't
use
have
this,
the money.
we don't have the money,
We
so
never
we
got
can't use
it.
DOT grant for something other than DOT project.
So what happened with that money that we already prepared?
All right, so you only have a bond ordinance authorization, as council just said, 300,000. We never borrowed money, we did nothing, we never spent it.
Never took out money and put it into a bond
No,
account.
and that's because over the years, we don't borrow money until we have a couple dollars left in the bank, so we don't pay interest.
But doesn't the, grant want you to us to verify that we have that money in place?
We'll have
Yes.
the bond in place.
Oh, after this.
When we did the grant, we put down, we were going to bond the additional amount, and we did, that's how you got the award of 193. But now, since you're not gonna move forward with the project, we will cancel that
Got it,
in the next couple of weeks.
got it.
As the attorney said very succinctly, most of the times you won't see these bonds canceled for years on end, because the way the bonds are written specifically for most towns, if it's a road program, all of a sudden you have a collapse in another road, you don't wanna do another bond ordinance, we'll use that money and fix the
Hopefully
collapse.
there's money left.
But the money that we didn't even put yet.
No,
No, hypothetical.
This is not.
In this instance, just to make sure everyone's clear, in this instance, there's no money. You're canceling essentially an authorization to borrow money. It's a paperwork issue. No money is exchanging hands between anybody. It's just saying, hey, we're no longer there's no longer permission to go out and borrow this money, so it's a paperwork issue.
The only,
That's what
the
we're talking
only
about here.
negative you guys may have is that, for future DOT bonds, future DOT grants, you may not get consideration from DOT.
They don't like you to cancel DOT grants.
Something to keep back
Okay.
on.
So you need to know that
Right.
moving forward. That's why I said, wait, that's why I just spoke to Dave.
Right.
Before you take action. This is a work session. I like
But
this,
this is
so
work
we can
session, we're
discuss.
talking right now.
There's no action being taken. So Dave, tell them the other exploratory
Yeah, some
we can
other
do.
negative
Well,
things
you
that
know,
could
I
happen.
mean, you could rebid it, right, and see if you can get selective bids coming back in. Do I personally think you're gonna go from 600 to 300? The answer's probably no.
No, it's
Do
not.
I think you're gonna go from 600 to 500 with multiple bidders? Maybe, you
Yeah.
know, 600 to 300, it's still gonna cost you money.
Right.
A minimal of $150,000 to $250,000,
Mhm.
regardless of what you do.
I have a question.
Sure?
Let's say hypothetically, we do not wanna spend this one for whatever the reason.
Right.
Can we just accept it and then use this money for either next year or 2 years later or whatever?
No.
Is there a limit for the
It's
grant?
specific to the DOT grant, specifically for these items.
And we don't have the money.
So you can't use it.
They're usually 1 year.
You can pass a bond, you can pass a bond to use that money for whatever you want,
Yeah,
but in this case, it's for this. So if you said, you know what, we don't wanna do beautification, but we'd rather do something else later on, well, you can do another bond for
no, what
that
I'm saying is, we want to do beautification, not this year,
next year.
but next year.
So next year, you can say, okay, fine, you know what, we really wanna do beautification this year, and then you'd have to go through the process, to see if there's any, grants available, and then go through the
So this
process.
grant will be over then?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, so Councilman, I think what was, kind of the question originally was, one option that the governing body has is to go back to DOT, just basically explain everything that we're talking about here, which is, hey guys, we expected the bid to come back around 300, we got one bidder at basically double the price, that's not something that's feasible for us to do. And to ask DOT to give you an extension to either allow you to rebid it
Or reject it.
or to reject it. I think at least what I heard was that at least some members of the council, their decision wouldn't, if you got bids at 300, there's at least some members of the council who from their comments, wouldn't wanna do it anyway at this point. So in that instance, it's not a matter of saying, let's go back out and just give us extra 30 days or an extra 60 days, because as Dave pointed out, it's not likely that this price is gonna drop
that much.
so significantly that all of a sudden it's $200,000 and you're within it. So,
Well, what is this rule about what Dave said? Not a rule, but like, if the DOT decides that we didn't entertain their offer midway, they might not award it in the future.
Right.
That is concerning.
well, that certainly is a possibility, certainly, look, these things are sometimes different, there's different bids and they're to be competitive. So if they're looking at giving it between you and another town, they say, well, last time I gave it to Powell Park, they rejected it and some other town didn't. Could that be used against you? Sure. But the flip side to that argument, Mayor, is that given that the price here is so, is so much higher and you got one bidder, is the borough gonna move forward with spending an extra $500,000 because you're worried about losing a potential future bid? It sounds to me like the answer here collectively is no. And, what we would do is we would make sure we notified NJDOT that the reason we're rejecting it is that at the end of the day, it's one bidder and it came back twice the price. So that's not something that the borough can, the governing body has decided that in its fiscal, and watching the finances of the borough, that's not something that you're comfortable doing. And, it gives them an understanding as to why it's being rejected. And certainly they can understand that. One bid is, as the borough administrator said, one bid is not,
It's a good
hard to
reason.
compare pricing.
It's a good reason why
Correct.
we're asking the DOT for an extension.
Well,
It is.
but hold on, we could ask for an extension, but it seems the consensus is.
No, I get it, that's fine, But my point is, I'm really worried, I'm fine with the unanimous thing. I'm just worried about the fact that next year, they're gonna say, Palacios Park, you're not gonna get our grant. We ask for grants for every single year. You guys have to think about it. Good thing we still have till the 20th. So, bear in mind that we may not get grants from DOT on forward, moving forward, okay? We get a lot of grants from DOT.
We don't have the money.
No, I got it.
So what are we going on this?
So just be recognized, because the last moment CFO said, Dave said at the last moment that we may not get the grants. You guys are gonna have to understand that, your decisions, all right, that's all. I don't really care, if you can do it next year or not. But I'm worried about grants not being received because we have a record. Okay?
Is the budget gonna be done next week? Cause then I would be able to have a better idea, we have $100,000 to spend
I
on
can
it.
tell you this much without having those information, we are not going to have that money.
Right, so next year it ain't happening either, so at this point, I can't see what would make the difference. If we're talking years down, maybe there'll be money, but right now, I don't foresee with all the things that I think are needed in Palisade Park, this is probably something that's not needed, and we don't have the money.
But like I told you, what's included in the beautification, we don't know.
No, you do know, you do know, it's very,
Explain- Explain to the governing body.
it's a very specific spec that was advertised. So it includes, paper sidewalks, curbing, tree planting, benches,
Pedestrian walks, automatic pedestrian walks,
walkways.
electrical wiring
So
on the
we
ground.
absolutely do know what's included, very specific, yeah.
I might think that as our attorney suggests, say that the reason why we are rejecting is because of this. And I think that's good gesture. And have a good relation with them for the future grant, because getting a grant money is very important, because it's a free money.
Yeah.
So cutting off is not a good idea. Whatever is extended, we
That's a
should do
big
it.
assumption. that
Can we ask both ways?
This is a huge assumption.
Matt, can we ask both ways? We give enough, excuse why we're rejecting it, at the same time, can we ask for extension? Then we could actually wait to get, second bidder or third, and then we'll go from there.
So the only thing I would, so we can, the answer is yes. But what I would caution, if we don't wanna have an issue with our relationship with DOT, what you don't wanna do is go out, ask them for an extension of time
Right.
to get more bids. If we're collectively not sure that we want to move forward with the bids, what if the bids come back hypothetically and you do get 2 or 3 bidders, and now they're at
At the same
500,000, you know, they're at 500,000.
Still not gonna do it.
Or even at 600,
Right.
and then you say, yeah, we don't want it, now the DEP's gonna come back and say, wait, you asked for an extension,
You got
now
one
you're,
price.
right, now you're still rejecting, you got a lower price, that would be worse. I think at this point, from what I'm hearing from everybody, it's, the price is double, it's one bidder, there's other financial concerns, it sounds like it's, you know, time to, you know, to say thank you and move on. But if you want to ask for an extension, I definitely don't think you wanna go back, ask for an extension, and then reject, the bids, not wanting to do the project as a whole. I think that would be much worse.
Cover this subject.
All right, well, you have a little, so everybody's unanimous about saying that, forget about it, right? Good, just wanna make sure. Okay, award of contract to Edmonds GovTech.
Mayor, before we move on to that, so Matt, would you, your office kindly provide that resolution rejecting one?
Yes, and we'll also probably, you know, think about, you know, letting DOT know in
Okay.
advance informally, we get all that administrative about doing it.
Yeah.
Just so they don't see it for the first time in a resolution, we, you know, we can send them a letter explaining what we're gonna do and give them a heads up.
That would be-
Yeah, so they explain our situation,
Yep.
please.
Yep.
That'll be good, thank you.
Can that be ready for the regular meeting?
Mike's not too anxious.
Thank you. Mayor?
Okay, award of contract for Edmonds GovTech, you guys know about this.
Yep.
Mike Episella gave us a proposal for Edmonds GovTech finance and tax programs. He made it very in a simplified version. I think there's no reason why we shouldn't upgrade with Edmonds and then get the security of the cloud with only the increased amount of $2,825 from our current service that we're being provided. The old service is getting old, they don't wanna go to cloud, and we had this conversation, so you guys to think about this. Any questions about the resolution 189, GovTech?
Nope.
Okay, okay. Okay,